goddamn good.
So damn good.
So damn good.
Soda
is bad. Soda's bad, cunt.
We've been live. And
How long have we been live?
like literally like 10 seconds
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't want to throw you out into the
Well,
wolves. So, why don't you start us off? Well, actually,
well,
wait.
First of all, this podcast
This
podcast is brought to you by Stevie Wicks Cool Beans Candle Company. It may be too late to get your Halloween candles for this year, but you can still get all your favorite fall scents at steviewicks.com. More on them later. Uh-oh.
You sound good. What, we already got somebody?
Cheated again.
Cheated again.
Oh, in the election we were cheated again. I know what happened.
I already know what you're talking about. Sosa and the ballot counters in Arizona. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. And yeah, they are completely messed up. But I think what the problem was, there was so many Republicans that came out to vote, and they crashed the machines. That's my take on it. We'll see. They'll make up something. You know how they are.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because not in Arizona, but that's partially to blame for what went wrong for Republicans. But as of me writing down my notes, which was earlier this afternoon, so things might have changed a bit, Democrats have 46 seats in the Senate. Republicans have 49. There were Nevada and Arizona that were still counting votes, and Georgia is going to have a runoff election in December, so that I think is going to come down to Georgia. Yeah, I'm sure they had the machines ready to break. Yeah. Yeah, when it gets to X number of Republican ballots.
Seriously, like, it's hilarious. Like, the thing will be trending upwards, and then all of a sudden, they just, instead of, like, just going up normally, like, you should, they just skyrocket up, and it's like, that's not sus. Yeah, it's whatever.
And then as far as the House of Representatives go, Democrats currently have, I think they still have, it might have changed a bit. Did the Democrats get up to 208?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Republicans are at like 208.
Oh, I had Republicans at 210.
They were like one. Okay, so it went
My
up.
source, yeah. 193 to 210. And again, there were still some ballots waiting to be counted.
I think it was a combination of everyone's reasons. Yeah, definitely. You got that stuck in your head there, buddy?
Yeah, I do.
It's a good song.
I will admit it helps me lift a little bit extra.
Shit, listen to Till I Collapse by Eminem. That thing will have you running laps, like miles, not laps.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm going to have to add that to the playlist because I know the song. I know the song. I just, for some reason, it's not on there.
Till I collapse, I'm spitting these raps as long as you're feeling them. So, as of right now, you got notes. I'll let
you go for it.
I was just going to say, as of right now, 49 in Senate, 49 Republicans, 48, 50 for the majority. So, we're waiting on...
Well, 51 for the majority because 50.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, but as of right now, technically speaking, let's review Black Panther and have me on ASAP. I have not seen the new Black Panther.
You know what? We'll do that.
We'll go see it, and we'll get in touch with you.
We will go see it. By the way, speaking of Black Panther, I just have to shout this out because I missed it when it aired because I don't watch Saturday Night Live. But apparently when the first Black Panther came out, Chadwick Boseman hosted SNL.
He's such a beast.
Oh, dude, he was hilarious.
Peace,
yeah, for real. That's
the best part.
Michael
B. Jordan was really good too.
Yeah, but they did. So SNL has these occasional segments of Black Jeopardy, and he's on there, but as T'Challa, it's fucking hilarious. I love because there's this one bit where basically like the answer is like. The cop shows up to your house after there's been a string of burglaries and asks if you know anything.
I agree, bro.
What'd he say?
He said that Chadwick was one of the best things about it.
Yeah. I'm so glad, speaking of Michael B. Jordan, I'll get into the joke because it was funny, but speaking of Michael B. Jordan, like, I'm so glad his career's taken the trajectory it has. Because he's so...
He is a good actor,
Yeah.
but honestly, like, I guess I didn't follow him until I saw Black Panther, but I didn't know he was in a lot of good movies. Like, I guess I wasn't paying attention. The one I remember him the most from, which is one of my favorite movies, is Chronicle. I absolutely love that movie. Because
You know what?
Dane DeHaan is in it as well. He's way underrated.
You're right, and I remember when I watched Black Panther, I was like, man, the dude who played Killmonger's awesome. But I'd known about the Creed movies.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't put it together.
See, I haven't seen them, and I heard they're amazing.
I started watching the first one, but then I couldn't finish it. But yeah, I've heard very good things. But so anyway, as T'Challa, and he's like, I think I have this. I don't know. Is imitating his Black Panther accent racist? Because it's part of the joke.
Fuck that shit. Just say it.
Well, no, I'm moderately sensitive. But anyway,
I'm not.
he's like, not only do I tell the policeman everything I know, I will help him hunt down the perpetrator. And then everybody's like, ooh. He's like, it shouldn't be wrong, but it is.
You sound like a mix of Cheech and Chong.
It's true, man.
Like you put it together, and that's what it sounds like. All right.
Would you like to know what went wrong with this election? Because I kind of found this pattern by accident, but then I started digging, and I'm convinced it's very conclusive, and I've got plenty of examples. What screwed this election up for Republicans was Donald Trump, specifically the January 6th stuff, or rather the election results, not so much January 6th, and the Roe v. Wade overturn.
Roe v. Wade overturn, dude.
I think that was the biggest thing.
Completely killed it, because the thing is, like, everyone was up in arms against it.
Well, and
against it being overturned.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious if there'd been a media source, say a podcast, for example, where when that happened, somebody said that Roe versus Wade being overturned would affect the midterm election. Like, wouldn't it have been great?
It's weird. Like, I swear that there's a podcast that comes to mind.
I know, and
I swear I'm pretty sure they said something about that.
Maybe we're having trouble remembering it because it's so average.
Possibly, it's so weird because, if you really sit down and think about it, we're like, this is weird and out of place. This happened at a weird time.
And I really think they had an episode called "I Told You So" once.
Oh man, what is the name of that podcast?
Oh wait,
it's the Average Intelligence Podcast.
Us,
and it was us.
Because we are, yeah.
This is why you need to watch, because we called it.
I mean,
Cheddar, where's your wallet?
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Now, I didn't know that. I was a little surprised to the degree that it affected, but I knew it was going to affect the election. I didn't think it was going to be this drastic, but let's get into it, shall we?
Let's shall.
So the first example I found was, do you remember Myra Flores? We were even talking about her. She was actually leading in her polls.
I know.
So here's the thing, though.
And then she got stomped mercilessly.
She lost her election because she was elected to Congress in a special election earlier in 2022. Keep in mind, she just won that seat earlier this year. And she was defeated by her Democratic opponent. I think I messed up and didn't get the name. But anyway, she was the first Mexican-born woman ever to serve in Congress. So keep that in mind. Woman of color, first ever in Congress. These are like liberal, lefty, like high
notes.
High notes. Yeah, thank you. That's a good way to put it. However, she was on record calling Roe versus Wade overturn a big win and had general pro-Trump sentiment, including tweeting at one point that she believed January 6th was a setup by Antifa.
I mean, it's not...
So she's got both of those on the record, and I think that affected, whether you agree or disagree with that, it affected the race. And there's, like, literally all this.
There are things you don't say because simply, if you're trying to get elected, you don't bring up certain things. you show compassion for anything going on. Don't be on either side. Don't be like, well, this and this is what I think. You just say, I support the law. Do what Democrats do. Like literally, I'll be watching like Congress meetings, and then they'd be like, I uphold the law, sir. That's what I'm here for. Da da da. And it's like, well, I mean, I asked you a question about child pornography.
Are you saying
you're saying you uphold the law? No, it was Ketanji Brown.
Oh, okay.
When she was in her hearing to be confirmed.
Oh, that's
justice,
yeah.
And they literally were asking why was she giving so lenient. I can't speak. I've got mashed potato mouth apparently. Why was she being so lenient on child sex offenders? Because like I don't know, her justification was just not there. And it's just like, well, I mean, there was only one tape, and it's like, I'm sorry, but one tape of a child being that I can't say the words, but it's enough. I'm sorry
that's more than sufficient.
I tell you, you fix that. You want to know how you fix that? Bring back public execution. I hate to say it. That's the only thing I'm actually I don't know if you know this about me. I am not pro death penalty.
Really?
At all. I'm not pro death penalty. I do not agree with it. I don't believe taking a life is right. But the thing is, when it comes to I know, right? Yeah, I'm going to backtrack on this. But when it comes to children and their innocence, you deserve it.
Yeah. I mean, if ever there were a reason.
If it's children. If you're messing with children, no, you deserve every bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if ever there were a reason, I would think that would be...
When it comes to full-grown adults and this and that, like, I really sympathize, and there are heinous people, but it's just, I don't know, like, I couldn't do it,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never killed a man before.
Except for that one time.
That was in Texas, so...
Oh, I thought it was in Reno.
It was across the border, so it wasn't in Texas. Anywho, let's get back.
Oh, God. So, surprisingly, the economy, as bad as it was overshadowed by both of those things, which it makes sense for the how do I say this without being a condescending prick?
You just say it as a condescending prick so people get the point.
Okay, the female vote. It makes sense for the female vote. I'm surprised how much that impacted the election over the economy. Because if the economy was good and those issues were up, what do you want? I don't care. If the economy was good and those issues were up, I could understand it. But with the economy being so bad, and that literally tells me that people care more about not having Donald Trump. Well, not everyone, but apparently the majority of the voters in a lot of these places cared more about not getting Donald Trump elected again, or just general anti-Trump sentiment, which, whether you agree or disagree...
I think that, DeSantis just won his race.
Oh, we'll get to him.
Okay, all right. I was just going to say between DeSantis and,
there's plenty.
I think we're leading in the right direction.
Yeah, there's plenty there. I've got a whole section on Ron DeSantis, but you're right, and that's one of the differences I'm going to be pointing out.
Please don't ruin Florida, please.
I don't think he will, but...
I don't mean him.
Oh, I got you. So general anti-Trump sentiment, and then again the whole reproductive rights issue, which that whole thing, I don't even want to get into that. That's way too complicated to have just like a yes no answer to, but it's one that voters clearly care about. Which actually we're going to get to Ron DeSantis now. So DeSantis was one of the few actual red waves that happened. DeSantis was a friggin' red tsunami. Get this. In his last election when he won his governorship for the first time, he won by 0.4%, which in Florida is about 30,000 votes.
And this one was like 60 to
40. 59%. Wow. But you want to know what Ron DeSantis did that was a little bit different?
What?
Trump was shitting on him. DeSantis is not in the Trump camp, at least not super firmly. He's in it insofar as he's a Republican, but he and Donald Trump don't particularly see eye to eye, I don't think.
And I don't know why, because honestly, they'd be a power couple. I know that sounds really, really homosexual.
It's like super
which
gay.
I don't really care, but...
I think DeSantis would be on top. I'm saying
it. Trump's too old.
Well, that's right.
Okay, listen, you're going to be great.
He needs the support.
You're going to be really great at this. Just get the lube.
I couldn't believe how young DeSantis is. I could have sworn he was older.
No, he's only like 45.
Is he even that old?
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Hey Siri, how old is Ron DeSantis? 44.
Oh, 44? Still, yeah.
So he has one more year before he can run.
No, he can already be
president.
president.
35.
35,
My bad. My bad.
So Ron DeSantis not only won by that huge margin, which I think in any political race is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's considered a...
That's a landslide.
Yeah.
He flipped Miami-Dade County red.
He flipped Miami?
Miami-Dade County went red for the governor. That's crazy.
Do you got any history on that?
I think Clinton won it hardcore against Trump by like 26%. I don't have a lot of historical data. I know that in Clinton versus Trump, Clinton carried Miami-Dade County in Florida. I do know that. During his victory speech, the audience started chanting 2 more years. The audience started chanting.
In Miami?
Well, in Florida. I'm not sure where he gave his speech, but...
Okay.
I mean, if I was DeSantis, I would have had it in Miami. Just to rub it in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump to this. It seems pretty clear, speaking of Ron DeSantis, it seems pretty clear that DeSantis will at least be in the Republican primary, although I think he will end up being the presidential nominee. But here's where it'll get interesting, because Trump has alluded to running again in 2024. I think the Republican primary is going to come down to Trump-DeSantis, and...
That's tough.
Well, it's not that tough, because here's why.
No, I like DeSantis and what he does, but, like, I don't know.
Well, I wrote this down. If it is Trump-DeSantis in a 2024 primary, DeSantis can survive Trump, but Trump cannot survive DeSantis. And when I say survive, I don't necessarily mean win. But here's the thing. So if Trump wins the primary, he's going to have to dig into DeSantis, and that will lose Republican support for Trump. Particularly in Florida.
Well, and that's why he's attacking him now.
Which is still stupid.
Trump is Trump.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. If DeSantis beats Trump in the primary, he'll probably gain more support from independents and hardcore Republicans who were kind of anti-Trump. Not necessarily enough to vote against him, but who really didn't get the warm fuzzies. And because here's the thing. If DeSantis is a very, very skilled debater. Trump is going to go on the attack, and DeSantis is going to be like, he's going to Aikido that shit. Because he's going to deflect it, but not dig as deep. You know, so Trump's going to come off like a bully, and DeSantis is going to come across as like...
an intelligent person.
Well, and he's going to come across like the hero kid who's like, just stop picking on him, you little bitch. Listen. You know, DeSantis is the embodiment of, in that kind of fight, DeSantis is the embodiment of pick on someone your own size.
Listen, if there's anything we learned from Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, it doesn't always mean that the bully is the bully.
That's true. We might see
DeSantis, or the hero is the hero.
We might see DeSantis bust a roundhouse kick to Trump's face.
That would be amazing. Like, I don't hate Trump. I don't love the guy.
I don't hate him either.
Honestly, I flourished very well under him, so I'm going to give him some credit. And I'm not flourishing under Joe Biden. And, like, everyone can say, well, that's your fault. And it's like, no, it's not.
This is one of the few, because, like, you and I are very big on personal responsibility. This is one of the few times where I'm like, no, this is legitimately not his fault. Biden killed the market that you exploited the market and set it up for yourself, and Biden, or the Biden administration and Democratic policies killed it.
Yep.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Even though there was like all kinds of flack coming from the Republican side about cryptocurrency and regulating it and doing this and that and then doing this, and then all of a sudden Biden gets into office, and then not even a year later, everything like fucking everything crashed pretty hardcore in 2021. What the beginning of this year. It basically was the beginning
of
this year. It was
2022,
January,
yeah.
and it just went down so freaking much, and it was just impossible to recover from. And then anyone who was invested lost a lot of money. Like, I know people in the stock market. I know one person in specific. I know them personally. They lost $100,000, and like.
Well, and unfortunately, what I've kind of come to understand is it seems that even when they don't directly do anything, which I'm not saying Biden hasn't directly done anything, but even when they don't directly do anything, just over time, you just don't make as much money in a Democrat-led administration. You just don't. Now, for those long-term savvy investors, the way I'm seeing it is right now is the time for you to start buying stuff.
Oh, this is definitely a buying
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
This is definitely a buy and hold market because it will come back. It will come back. Like that,
Yeah,
that's,
it
that's
will.
No, that's
Like,
no
it's
joke.
not-
But the thing is, if you were in a position and you lost a lot of money, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have to exit that position, and so therefore you did lose the money. It wasn't just like, you know, a waiting game now. But yeah, it's just. It's not fun for a lot of people, but this is a buying market.
Yeah, well, and then when you get a Republican back in the White House, because I have a very strong feeling that's going to happen. Even if Trump runs, I still have a pretty strong feeling that would happen. It's just...
I think whether it's Ron or Trump, I think everything will bounce back slowly but surely. And, you know, like, why can't these idiots get the deficit worked out? Like, how fucking hard is it to stop spending? It's really not that hard.
Well,
like, I know we have a lot of programs, but it's just like...
That's what it is, though. It's already being churned out.
But
so
our programs, though, like, are they really, you know, like, that expensive for how much we put out? It's like, do we need wood-blown glasses at a fucking... At a meeting overseas? You know, it's like, buy some Dixie cups, people.
Well, but here's the problem, though. What you're saying makes absolute sense.
$1.5 million on wood-blown glasses, wine glasses.
It makes sense if you're talking about one person overseeing the entire budget. It's a bureaucracy.
I know.
That's the big problem. But so
they justify it. Both parties. Both parties.
Not only that,
all parties.
Not only do they justify it, they don't give a shit. Because ultimately, who do they answer to? Nobody. Because the average taxpayer doesn't even know that's happening. So it's like they can hide it in plain sight.
Oh, I went on a freaking rabbit hole one day, and I just looked at all the crazy, stupid spending, and I'm like, so tell me why they're spending this on this and this? It just, no, makes no sense.
Well, so this is just my preference. So this is my low. I prefer Trump over Biden, but I prefer DeSantis over Trump as president.
Very fair.
Because...
Very fair.
I think DeSantis... here's the other part of it. I think DeSantis needs to be the presidential nominee for the good of the country.
I don't think he wants to be.
That's why he needs to run.
And the funny thing is, you know, the funny thing is Trump literally has been saying it for 20 plus years. If you go back and watch like a lot of his videos, he goes, I don't want to run for president. He goes, I make way more money. No, like if you listen to it, he says he makes way more money not, you know, doing the presidential bid because he makes more money doing his deals and whatnot. And it's like, even if he has to deal with crazy taxes and this and that, he still infinitely makes more money. It's like, well, you know, like, yeah, I know he can figure out legislation, you know, get people to, you know, grease the wheels and make it easier for him to make money. But, like, the dude, obviously, he's not a saint. Don't get me wrong, America. He's not a fucking saint. But at the end of the day, he didn't make any money as presidential bid because he did give it away. No other president's done that so far. Joe Biden, like, you're worth how many million? And you know, I see you still keeping your salary. So
well, here's the thing about Trump, though. I don't think it's about money for Trump. I don't think it was ever about money. I think it was about winning. Because Trump...
That's what he wants. He is addicted to winning.
That's what it is. Trump likes winning, and he doesn't care how much it costs.
And listen, I agree with winning. I don't care who you are, like, unless you're an idiot, you know.
But here would be my case for DeSantis, having never met the guy, but just overseeing. DeSantis is one of the few people that I actually think, like, as governor of Florida, I think he just cares about Florida, which is super rare, because he could politically coast, and he didn't. Because he won, he could play the moderate, and then he could but he's moderate in places that matter, and then I'm not going to say extreme, but I mean he's firm.
You want to know why?
On places that are important.
You want to know why DeSantis? Excuse me. You want to know why DeSantis? And I don't know if you have anything in this in your notes. Maybe you do. Why DeSantis won at such a higher rate? He said no mail-in ballots.
That could.
I'm
that
just gonna
likely,
say everyone is saying, oh, they're not easily manipulated. It's like really, and
no.
the fucking Easter Bunny is real. I mean,
so speaking of predicting the future, what did I say? I was on the first or second episode we ever did.
And Hassan Piker is a great warrior. Just kidding, or whatever he said.
He called him right in the eye.
Fuck that dude.
That's a really obscure joke.
He called him right in the eye.
Yeah. It's a quote from Little Nicky, but it's referring to Hassan Piker saying something like 3.5 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's a really obscure joke. Thank you. You're welcome, Internet. It was in our first or second episode where I literally said, because this is before they authorized all the mail-in ballots for COVID, I said, if they do that, the Democrats will win.
And that's the thing. You know, Joe Biden went on record to say the pandemic is over, and then a month later he's like, we really need to buckle down. And it's like, can you guys make up your fucking mind? Get that guy off TV. Seriously, it's going to help your case, people. Like, if you want to keep Democrats in office.
Well, you notice Kamala Harris hasn't really been, not that I've seen, she hasn't really been on TV. Although today, and I sent you this, apparently she made a speech somewhere relatively recently.
Where did you send it on?
TikTok.
Okay. All right.
TikTok. I sent it on TikTok.
Listen to your tape.
And she's on there. She's like, listen, nobody needs to go to prison for marijuana. I'm like, you cunt.
Nobody needs to go. It's like, drug test that woman.
Well, not only that, it's like, bitch, you locked up so many people for pot. So many people.
And specifically people of color.
Yeah. I mean, like, oh, it's funny. If only somebody had told us about that, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's so hot.
Well, not only that, Tulsi's another person where, like DeSantis, I just think she just genuinely gives a shit about...
You want to know what I like about her the most? Her teeth.
She does have nice teeth.
It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. And she reminds me of someone. A porn star. That's probably why I think she's so... I was like, why does she...
Who does she remind
Why
you?
does she seem like so familiar? And I was like, man, she's banging. I'm like, who is this?
Who?
And I'm like...
Who is it?
She looks just like, oh, god dang, what is her name?
You know.
No,
don't act like you don't know.
I can't remember her name. She's very popular, or was. She just had a baby.
Are you talking about Lana Rhoades?
No.
Because I was going to say she doesn't look anything like... I only know Lana Rhoades had a baby because there was something about Logan Paul talking about...
Like, any other time, dude, I can remember this motherfucker's name.
I was going to say, because I've never been a fan of Lana Rhoades. I haven't. I don't... Maybe I'm missing the boat on something. Wouldn't be the first time. Tulsi Gabbard porn star lookalike.
Hey, it's funny, dude. Lana Rhoades just had a baby.
I know. That's what I just said. I'm trying to think. Who could you be talking about?
I have to go to my Instagram.
Oh my god, I was talking to a buddy of mine in California. I work with his company, so we were talking about invoices, and I made the joke. Somehow we got on the topic of Hillary Clinton. He was like, God, talk about a woman who like fell off the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm saying. This is what I don't get about Bill Clinton. Like, I understand why you would cheat on Hillary Clinton. Like, don't get me wrong, I totally get that. But with Monica Lewinsky, at least Trump had the sense to cheat with a porn star. I can respect that. And every woman is out there, how dare you? Just like this. I didn't mean to point at my dick.
Dare you?
Oh, speaking of her, though, did you hear about Greta Thunberg changing her tune?
Oh, Greta Thunberg changing her tune.
Happy accident.
Greta
Thunberg is changing her tune on the Bergs. She's now not explicitly anti-nuclear, and she's softening her stance. You know what I think happened?
What?
I think she moved out of her parents' house and had to start paying her own energy bills. That's what I think happened.
She's like, get this shit down, please.
She gets her electric bill. How dare you? And then she gets the gas bill. How dare you?
This should not take this long.
You follow her on Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Not Tulsi Gabbard. I mean the.
Oh, I follow Tulsi too.
I was gonna say I follow Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, she's Riley Reid.
She doesn't look anything like Riley Reid.
Hold on, it's the teeth.
Oh, the teeth. Oh, the teeth. Okay. You don't. Okay. Yeah, I know. I got you. Yeah, I can see that. I get it.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, people.
No, they're similar.
I'm
They have a similar.
something wrong with me.
Have,
it's the American.
There's nothing. So you want to hear?
American way. It's the Billy Madison way.
You want to hear a hilarious story about Riley Reid?
I would like to hear a story about Riley Reid.
Okay. So this is when I was still married. So
God.
No. It's not. It's not bad, but well, it's kind of bad, but not really. So
watch the movie, honey.
As a matter of fact, it does have to do with the movie. So we're in the old couple shop, shall we say? And she's looking at shit, and I just happen like I look over and I see in my periphery like they got DVDs out everywhere. So I see this one, and you know I recognize Riley Reid on the cover, but I'm like no selling it because like I don't watch porn, you know. But then I see it. It's the title of the movie is called Friends with Benefits, and I'm like, well, that's an actual movie. So I picked this bad boy up.
You want to watch a movie?
Well, no, I picked the bad boy up and I read the synopsis and I'm like, I kind of want to watch this movie. Like, for the plot.
The plot.
No, I did. Like, I understand. It was that guy. I'm like, I kind of want to know what happens.
Is Ryan Reynolds in this? All right.
Oh, my God.
We are diverging.
Big time.
All right.
So, and to illustrate the opposite of my point, before I get into the bunch of Trump picks that performed disastrously, I would like to point your attention to Georgia's re-elected governor, Brian Kemp, who, even though it looks like Georgia...
Did he get re-elected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
So, Brian Kemp won by almost 300,000 votes over Democrat Stacey Abrams. Trump had publicly trashed him previously during the campaign, and Kemp didn't dispute the results of the 2020 election. Now that's interesting. So here's a Republican who I will point out is not fond of abortion and has even proposed, I don't know to what level of a ban, but he's proposed abortion legislation, and his opponent was a very much abortion rights advocate. But just because this dude, and granted he is in Georgia, but just because this dude wasn't on Trump's camp, he won by 300,000 votes. Now, this is where my point really gets illustrated. So all of these people were handpicked or at least endorsed by Donald Trump, although most of these were handpicked. So, and they all lost their races, mind you.
And their minds.
Yeah, well, yeah. So in the Senate, we had J.D. Vance of Ohio. Oh, now J.D. Vance won, but he was one of the few. But get this. So J.D. Vance did win his election, but he only won by 6%. The previous winner of his Senate seat, who strongly criticized Trump, had won their election by 25%. So he won, but by a much lesser margin. Then we move over to Pennsylvania with Dr. Oz, who lost to the most worthless human being in the United States. To beat John Fetterman, all you needed was a warm body. And yet...
Except, what state was that again?
Pennsylvania.
Exactly. Something actually just happened in Pennsylvania as well, and there's some controversy going on around that too. You know
that I would believe because
actually, I'm sorry, I sent you the video. Did you watch it? The James
O'Keefe
one?
Here's
there was a key set on top of the ballot box.
Here's the only problem with that. So and then
did you see how the guy acted? Like
Well,
when he brought him over, I'm like,
here's the only problem with that video. I'm gonna make pretend you're a ballot box, and who was the president? The journalist.
James O'Keefe.
Okay. Okay, we rolling? Yeah, we're here, and there's this ballot box, and there's keys on top. Now, I'm not saying he did that.
Well, he gave them to the guy, and the
I
guy
know.
refused to put it in to see if it worked, and he worked for the company. So he could have double-checked, be like, yeah, this is the key. Sorry about that.
Well, here's the problem, and
It's not that you can't trust them.
I can see both sides.
It's sketch.
Well, I can see both sides, because I
would have fucking tried it. I'm just going to say.
Well, but what are you going to do? Because you're one against presumably two, possibly more people. Maybe they're just trying to trick somebody to open the thing so they can take ballots out. You never know. I can see both sides. I wouldn't be sure.
Is it illegal to mess with a ballot box?
Yes, 100%.
I would have taken those keys and thrown them away.
Well, that's...
What are you going to do about it? I don't know whose these are. This is left on top. Is this for this? You're fired.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Who knows if the keys actually...
I don't know if they are or not. I'm not saying they are 100%. I'm saying that it is very irresponsible and it's very sketch.
Well, I know, but all I'm saying is that it also would have been very easy to take some random keys and...
And for one, I'm assuming that was a mail-in ballot box.
Well, I think it was a ballot drop box.
Ballot drop, yeah, but okay.
Which, first of all, stupid.
Yeah.
Just...
Go and vote in person. Stop this bullshit.
Even if
everyone's vaccinated or fucking...
Yeah, there's no need.
There's no excuse. Wear a mask.
I really wish I advise every single state to do it like Indiana does.
And Florida.
Well, Florida didn't. Florida used to do paper ballots, and they learned their lesson in 2000. Yeah, so they learned.
Actually had a recount, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it was because of all the paper ballots and the hanging chads.
Mm.
Stupid. So not only was it a paper ballot, but you had to poke little holes in it. Like, that was dumb. Just get a voting machine. Like, Indiana usually has its election results in like 2 hours.
Weird.
I mean, it's always Republican, but except in 2008, they did go blue in 2008. I remember.
Governor?
No, for president. Sorry.
Oh,
Obama.
Obama.
Yeah.
Who was McCain? John McCain.
Correct. Yeah.
Which a lot of people voted for him too.
Yeah.
It was a very close race.
But Obama, which, I mean, the fact that Indiana went blue was phenomenal. But anyway, not phenomenal, but unprecedented. So then in Pennsylvania, you got Dr. Oz, who lost to the world's most useless human being. In Arizona, we had Blake Masters, who, granted, we're still counting these votes, but as of me making the notes, he's trailing Democrat Mark Kelly by about 6%. Then in Georgia, Herschel Walker is now... Georgia election law states that if neither candidate gets 50%, they have a runoff election with the top two, I believe it is. But it's going to eliminate the third parties to have a runoff election.
Wait a minute.
I almost said runoff election.
50% each?
No. Well, that's what they're doing. They're going to have it. It's just going to be Walker and Kelly. Not Kelly. Walker and...
Texas Ranger?
Warnock, sorry.
Warnock.
You know what? I had a funny thought driving. I was like, why doesn't Chuck Norris run for office?
Because the office runs from him.
The campaign writes itself. Chuck Norris doesn't vote. He wins. Oh, God. Think of the campaign ads. That'd be hilarious. Chuck, please. I don't care what you run for. I don't care what party you run for.
It won't rain on your election. The election will rain on, I don't know. I was trying to make the joke where when Chuck Norris goes swimming, he doesn't get wet. The water gets chucked.
Chuck Norris. But just his campaign poster, just take the screenshot from Dodgeball.
Fucking Chuck Norris.
So they will have a runoff in December, and I really think that the Senate is going to come down to Georgia. I really do. Now, Herschel Walker got into some trouble because he did take an anti-abortion stance, and then it came out allegations of him coercing a woman into getting an abortion.
Allegations.
Yeah, allegations, because, I mean, it hasn't been proven either way.
You know, that's the thing, when it comes to allegations, like, people need to be met with...
Oh, I 100% believe it.
I don't know.
I 100%. Well, because after that, he softened his stance on abortion. And I'm just kind of like...
And that's the thing. It's like, listen, like, I understand you have personal views and whatnot, but you have to think of your constituents and who they're, like, backing. Change your position up a little bit. Like, I don't agree with abortion and whatnot, but, like, yet I don't want to take it away from someone who absolutely needs it.
Well, and here's... This is where the political side of the argument gets confused. The question isn't whether abortion is morally right or wrong, because unfortunately that's a question that every individual has to answer for themselves. The question is, does the state have the authority to regulate it? That's the question. And it's a hard question to answer.
And the funny thing is, now they do.
Well, each individual state does. And that's the other thing. I think there was... Well, it depends, though, because in a state like Indiana, like, yeah, Roe versus Wade being overturned, and if you are pro-choice, that is some cause for concern, because Indiana pretty quickly put some laws on the books. But if you live in California, who gives a shit?
I want to point something out.
Point it.
99% of you getting abortions are not.
Tread carefully, my friend.
I'm just saying. And this is statistics backed. And the thing is, 99% of you is solely selfish doing it. It's I'm not even getting into the morality of it. I'm just saying it's selfish, because the thing is that's what it's going for. You're not. It's not incest. It's not rape. Don't get me wrong; those happen. But they're less than 1%. They were less than, like.
Okay, I see where you're getting.
Okay,
your number
so
from.
all I'm saying is, like, the 99%. You guys are the ones fighting for this. You don't care about those 1%ers. You don't give a shit about them. You care about being able to chuck your own baby down the toilet. You know? So it's like, listen, whatever. I don't care. You know what? If you want to pay for it, do it. I don't care anymore. Do it. But don't make taxpayers pay for it.
Well, also
and
don't...
if you pay for insurance, and they want to pay for it, that's fine, as long as they're not, money from the government.
Taxpayer funded?
Yes, taxpayer funded technically, but what's the word?
Like Medicare,
Subsidy.
Medicaid. Subsidized.
As long as they're not subsidized. That's just the thing. And a lot of people do pay for it out of pocket, so whatever. I don't care. Fucking do it, because honestly, you fucking idiots, I'm going to say it like this because I'm nice. You fucking idiots, the ones doing that, you already have crazy views, and I don't want you replicating. So.
Now. But the
truth comes out.
Well, the thing I would legitimately caution the pro-choice people on is don't automatically dismiss the pro-life community just because you have a differing opinion, because you have to remember the reason that people are pro-life is because they literally believe, and whether it's accurate or not, you have to acknowledge they believe that an abortion is a literal murder.
I'm so pro-life, I don't even believe in the death penalty.
Well, but here's I guess my point here is, like,
it's not 100%.
If you believe something was legitimately murder, would you not take a stand against that? If you thought something was legitimately murder, I would hope that you would take a stand against that. And that's kind of the way I view it, because I don't politically, I know where I am personally on it, but my personal views don't have anything to do with the state's authority unless I'm elected, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But that's part of the reason why I'm not running, because if I ran for office, one of two things would happen. I would either kill myself, or I'd kill everybody else in the chamber and then kill myself.
If I have to listen to...
If I had to be in a 5-hour meeting about people bitching about traffic lights, I would fucking hang myself.
Listen, I'm not for the death penalty, but there's a spider down there, and he can get it.
See, that one doesn't scare me. It was just the one in your mouth.
It's not the scary ones. He's got babies. He's got babies. They're in the corner. Set him on fire.
Kill it with fire.
I don't do spiders. I like Spider-Man, but I don't do spiders. I don't like Man Spider. He's creepy.
Oh, Man Spider is creepy.
That was awesome. I'm surprised no movie of Spider-Man has visited Man Spider. Seriously, like when they brought that up in the 94 anime. No, not the anime.
Animation.
The cartoon. That was so great. Man Spider. Oh, yeah, he probably didn't sound like that. I can't remember. It's been a while. He doesn't sound like a dying pig.
My favorite.
I'm sorry, viewers.
It's my favorite sound effect ever. Oh, God.
Anywho.
Well, moving on to Vermont. Now, this one's interesting. Gerald Malloy.
Vermont? That's my favorite
that's
place.
the home of Bernie Sanders' two houses.
Stand in the breadline. It's a good thing.
I didn't know Bernie Sanders was Italian.
Website, Twitter.
So Gerald Malloy lost huge to Democrat Peter Welch. But here's an interesting thing about Vermont. Vermont just elected a Republican governor. Phil Scott is a pro-choice, non-Trump supporter. But he's also a Republican who called for Donald Trump to resign amidst the happenings of Donald Trump, essentially. So in Vermont... Oh, what you got?
I was going to let you finish and then I'll bring it up.
Okay. So Vermont destroys the Trump Senate candidate in the election, but elects a Republican governor.
Weird.
Well, it's not weird when you see the pattern. Like, at first glance, I was like, that's what made me start going down this rabbit hole, actually. I was like, well, what the hell? Why? Why would they? And, like, overwhelmingly elected a Republican governor. Like, it wasn't a super narrow race. So then I was like, okay, pro-choice. Oh, and then I started digging, and then I came up with this long list. So you have breaking news from Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire.
It says Trump goes postal on DeSantis.
What did I tell you?
News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, the no longer great New York Post, okay, is all in for Governor Ron DeSanctimonious. That's great. An average Republican governor with great public relations who didn't have to close up his state, but did, unlike other Republican governors who overall... Yeah, which Republican governor didn't close? Was it Gretchen?
Was that the one in South Dakota?
Is her name Gretchen?
I think so. Yeah,
I
South
believe
Dakota
so.
had a female governor.
I don't. Gretchen Whitmer.
That
Or
sounds
is
right.
is that Gretchen Whitmer? I think that's Missouri, not Missouri. Michigan.
Oh no, Missouri closed.
Is that Michigan?
I don't know.
'Cause
We're
they
about to
definitely
find out.
closed. Hold on, wait.
South Dakota governor.
Trump, dude.
Kristen-
Stop attacking
Christie,
DeSantis.
no?
It's not going to end up well for you.
Okay, well, we're just gonna put it on the record right here. Before you even saw that news break, what the fuck did I just say?
Idiot, man.
This is how Republicans shoot themselves in the foot. Republican leadership, they need to not let Trump run if you want to win. I'm not saying Trump shouldn't run. I'm just saying that if the
There's
Republicans
too much
want to win-
baggage with them.
That's what I'm saying. If the Republicans want to win, this election proves it. Before it was iffy. Like, I wasn't sure. I had a feeling, but I wasn't sure. After this election, Republicans need to ditch Donald Trump
I'm like...
if they want to win. I don't want the Trump crowd coming to get
The
me.
bitch is coming for us.
I don't see it.
He's
It
over
goes
there.
sneak up on me. But, like, if Republicans want to win, this is all I'm saying. If they want to win, they need to ditch Donald Trump.
Ditch the bitch.
I'm not saying that's
kidding.
right or wrong, but if they want to win, that's what they need to do.
Listen, if it comes down to Trump and DeSantis, like, running against each other, like, say Biden just drops out because no one wants him.
Well, they'd be running in a primary.
I know.
I think that's the best thing they can do, honestly, though, is join
Who
forces,
do you
but
think
I don't
would be
think
the
they will.
opposing factor? There's no way it would be Biden.
What do you mean?
There's no way Biden's going to run again. It's like, say
Oh,
the
I
primaries,
beg
Trump
to
versus
differ.
DeSantis, and one of them wins the primary or whatever, and then, like, it's against a Democratic nominee. It's like, who are they going to...
Oh, I beg to differ. I think Biden's a shoo-in for the nomination in 2024, and here's why.
He's so old.
I know, but here's why. So there is some political wisdom in leading with what worked. And even though Biden is, by the poll standards, wholly unpopular, Democrats did better than they should have in this election cycle. And when you win, you don't change the... Like, it's kind of superstitious, but you don't change the team after you win the championship. You keep the team the same if you can. Now, if Biden is unable or unwilling to run, that's a different story. But if he's willing and able, I think he's definitely going to get it.
I agree. Unlike that spider. He did get it.
Now, again, before I was iffy, but after this election results, I'm like, oh yeah, they're not going to change that up. Besides that, who are they going to get?
Who?
Beto O'Rourke? He can't even win. He can't even win Senate. Or did he run for governor? I can't remember.
Hillary Clinton's going to come back.
Well, that's a surefire way to lose.
Really, though? You think?
Yes. Well, Trump already beat her before because Hillary Clinton is the one person on planet Earth that people dislike more than Donald Trump.
I don't know, dude. Americans are stupid.
Well, yes, but...
I mean, they voted for Biden of all
but
people, so...
here's the good news, and this is why Republicans should really hope that Biden's going to run, because if it is Biden-DeSantis, DeSantis is going to mop the floor with them.
Oh, with Biden?
Yeah.
Easily.
He can't. Trump will get petty, and Biden could look partially sympathetic to some voters, not all voters. But
I was really surprised during the debates when Biden came on, full force. And I'm like, man, they must have gave him some really good dementia meds.
He threw some swings for sure.
Yeah, and I was like taken back. I was like, I mean, granted, it was Biden and Chris Wallace against Trump, though.
Biden and Chris Wallace.
I mean, you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, literally, there was memes for months that literally said Trump was debating Chris Wallace and not Biden.
I mean, really.
Like, seriously, like, and then Chris Wallace goes to fucking CNN, and it's like, weird, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Because Fox was like, dude, you got to find another job. you definitely are, like, seriously...
But speaking of huge matchups,
my ass.
Speaking of huge matchups, though, not to get off topic, but you also let me in. They are currently negotiating.
Tate versus Jake Paul.
And screw it, we'll go ahead and talk. So I'm not discounting Jake Paul here.
No.
But
if Tate trains from now until the fight, Jake Paul is going to get mopped.
I don't think he's going to get mopped. I think Tate will win, but I don't think he'll get mopped. Because here's the thing: how many of Andrew Tate's fights did you watch? I've seen a few.
Like a couple.
I've seen a few. Tate is not a super aggressive fighter, and what I mean by that is he
lets them wear themselves out.
Well, he lets them make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Now, in his kickboxing fights, that's a little bit. It's not that it's easier. It's a different strategy because when you can use your legs,
He's boxed before though. Too.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But when most of his history was a kickboxer, and trust me, I can attest to this. When you can kick,
so they are just boxing. They're not MMA.
They are boxing, yeah.
Okay.
So when you can kick somebody, like when the rules permit it, you look for different openings. Mm-hmm. But I guess the other advantage is if they're just straight boxing, Andrew doesn't have to look out for Jake Paul's legs.
I don't know, though, dude. Tate escaped the Matrix, so therefore maybe his thinking is a little different. Because the thing is, maybe he was trained so well on kickboxing and whatnot. And, you would think, say you're a kickboxer for 20 years, your reactions are going to be that of a kickboxer. You're not going to be thinking about boxing. You're going to be thinking blocking with legs, attacking with legs. But maybe Tate, since he left the Matrix, he's able to change his mindset on how to react and
he can box for sure.
I don't know. I'm just giving Tate the benefit of the doubt because I like the guy.
I think Tate would win. Don't get me wrong, but we got to remember Jake Paul just fought John Jones.
I don't know.
Yeah, John Jones.
Who was it that was
and won by decision?
Who was it? The other Paul brother was
Logan.
Yeah, Logan. He was wanting to fight somebody. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Floyd. Or did he fight?
He fought Floyd.
Someone else then. I can't remember. And I was like, dude, are you just trying to get beat up? Like, everyone gives those two shit. But, like, I was like, dude, at the end of the day, they're millionaires and they have nothing else better to do except train. So, I'm sorry, but if a guy trains 10 hours a day, he's going to get good. And they got all the free time in the world to do it because they're rich.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Rich bitches.
I want to say, or was it Anderson? Oh, Anderson Silva. Sorry, it wasn't John Jones. So, yeah, Jake Paul just fought Anderson Silva in a boxing match, which, again, if it had been an MMA fight, Jake would have gotten destroyed. But it wasn't, so. Where was I going with this? Oh, and Logan Paul just lost to Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. Who saw that coming? Although I will say, Logan Paul has been remarkable as a pro wrestler. He's been shocking me.
Well,
Dude's a freak athlete.
It's not hard to be fake.
Dude,
No,
should.
I know it's not fake. 100%.
You should legitimately look up.
Choreographed.
Well, you should look up his WrestleMania highlights. It was his first televised pro wrestling match ever.
Good.
Dude is. I give credit where credit's due. Logan Paul is a freak athlete.
I mean, Snoop Dogg got in the ring too, and he did okay.
He only did a frog splash though. I saw that shit.
The funny thing is, it looked terrible.
It did. Logan Paul legitimately shocked me at how good he was in the ring. But yeah, and when you're on YouTube and bored, just look up Logan Paul WrestleMania.
The dude with the snake.
Jake the Snake?
No, he didn't really have a snake, but he was like acted like his hand was a snake, and they controlled the other guy.
Santino Morello.
That was
Jesus.
so funny.
It is funny. Santino could pull it off. But, so anyway, now we go on to Trump governor picks. Doug, I think it's Mastriano, it might be Mastriano, but Dougie Mast of Pennsylvania lost to Democrat Josh Shapiro, and he was a Trump guy.
I'm telling you, people probably screwed up voting for Shapiro because they thought it was Ben.
Probably.
Why did I vote for Josh Shapiro? Go ahead.
Carrie Lake of Arizona, who was another Trump pick, former newscaster too. At this point, it's too close to call, but she was slightly trailing her Democrat rival Katie Hobbs. Lee Zeldin of New York actually was one of the more promising Republican reactions. Now, didn't win against Kathy Hochul, but definitely gave her a run for her money. But because I watched part of their debate, and their differences on crime really had me thinking that he might win. But he did okay. But I don't think that was because of Trump. I think that was because Kathy Hochul is a terrible governor.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
So speaking of Pennsylvania, one of their Democrats, Pennsylvania long-serving state representative, he did so well. He died on October 9th of lymphoma, and he was still voted in.
Wait, did this just happen?
They didn't remove him from the ballot.
Seriously?
Tony DeLuca, Pennsylvania's longest-serving state representative, was the choice in more than 85% of votes cast. Longtime Democrat, so they decided not to take him off of the ballot even though he had died.
That was this election?
That was this election.
Really, Pennsylvania?
That's what I'm
You elected a literal dead guy. That was a joke.
Now, with the keys on top of the box. Doesn't that seem a little more fishy?
I'm a little bit more inclined. Listen, guys, when I said we need to elect a dead guy, I was joking.
James O'Keefe has literally been putting out some work.
I'm just kidding. I didn't mean actually. Like when I say don't elect a dog an actual mayor, don't do it. Well, actually, I think a dog would be an okay mayor.
And now, from the leader of the world, he's going to say something.
Him such a good boy. Who else we got?
That was a great part of Dragon Ball.
They do that in DBZ Abridged. We'll go for walkies later, sir. And I'm going to butcher this last name.
As soon as you leave, that's what I'm watching. Thank you.
DBZ Abridged.
Yes.
Movies. Tim Michaels, or Michelle's, I think it's Michaels, of Wisconsin. Now,
my name is Michelle, asshole. Say it one more motherfucking time.
S-O. And that's what caused him to become Michael Myers.
Okay.
This one did surprise me because I thought Wisconsin was going to elect a Republican governor after all the bullshit that went down.
No, they're dumb.
Well, I think they would have had Tim Michaels not been a Trump pick. Now, again, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this example.
Do you have any of his...
I do not, because I didn't think to... I'd already had the governor's list before. But I know he was a Trump nominee, so I'm willing to bet. And before we get to the House, I'm going to tell you how you can make your house smell a lot less shitty than Congress. Stevie Wicks, Cool Bean Scandal Company. You can have that spiced apple scent, because it's still November and Thanksgiving's just around the corner, along with spiced cranberry and pumpkin pie. Those would be great. You can get all those and more at steviewicks.com. Get your all-natural soy wax candles, which burn cooler and cleaner than regular paraffin wax candles. And you don't want that shit. No soot. If somebody spills it, makes a mess, basic soap and water cleanup. And if your candle doesn't burn completely all the way down for any reason, let Stevie Wicks know and they will replace it for free.
On top of that, since it has such a low burning point, you can use it on your sexual endeavors. And it doesn't hurt as bad.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could.
I know, right?
I don't think that's as much fun,
kidding.
though.
I don't really care for that shit. That's weird. I don't understand that. I don't want wax in my chest hair. I don't have much of it. He wears a sweater.
It doesn't say not to.
And just another reason why you should buy Stevie Wicks candles. Cool beans.
Go nuts. StevieWicks.com.
Chestnuts.
Okay, so the House of Representatives. Now this is where it gets really interesting, and there aren't. I went over the big contentious ones. So we had Yesley Vega of Virginia's 7th District lost to Abigail Spanberger, a white woman. Yesley Vega is obviously a woman of color. Well, not obviously, but she is. Vega, however, had previously agreed to the sentiment, and that she responded to this question on air. She had previously agreed with the sentiment that it could be possible that becoming pregnant as a result of a... Fuck it, I'm going to say it because we're adults. She agreed with the sentiment that it could be possible that becoming pregnant from a rape was possibly less likely. So basically, somebody had prompted her, just like,
The R word is not YouTube friendly, FYI.
Yeah, I know, but we're adults.
They're not.
Oh, that's true.
Just saying.
A grape with no G.
There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, YouTube. I'm sorry for the sensitive ears of all you fucking pansy-ass pussies.
We can say that.
As long as it's in hat form. So basically, the person had said...
And y'all wear the hat.
You get... I don't need to go into it. You can look up Yesley Vega. It's high up on the list. And she was pro-Trump. Then we go on. Steve Chabot. Pick your poison. I'm going to go with Chabot.
Chabonet.
Steve Chabot of Ohio's 1st District. An incumbent Republican lost to Democrat challenger Greg Landsman in Ohio. Let that sink in.
Chabot.
Ohio. An incumbent Republican representative lost to a Democrat. Why? Oh, and here's another. He'd been a Republican representative in Ohio since 2006. Hadn't lost an election. Why did he lose, you may ask? Voted against both articles of impeachment against Donald Trump and objected to the 2020 election result.
I mean, the whole voting against the 2020 election, that was stupid. But,
yeah, voting against the impeachment, I don't really think.
Like, why does that matter? Like,
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm revealing the pattern. Madison Gilbert in Ohio's 13th district, former Miss Ohio. By the way,
that's Ohio, correct?
Yeah. By the way, she is gorgeous, and I don't mean that in like. I mean, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. Former Miss Ohio was actually leading in the polls leading up to her election. She supported Trump's presidency, lost to Democrat Amelia Sykes. Gilbert supported the Roe v. Wade overturn and a bill that would ban abortion in Ohio after 6 weeks. See a pattern? And as if that weren't proof enough, Sandy Smith, North Carolina's 1st District, lost to Democrat Don Davis, very pro-Trump, and anti-abortion, and was actually accused of domestic violence against her husband on several accounts. And then finally, last but not least, and there's more, this is just the list, because these were kind of the worst losses. Bo Hines of North Carolina's 13th District lost to Democrat Wiley Nickel. Endorsed by Trump, thinks abortion is murder and should be banned. Believes that the 2020 election was stolen. This was on his campaign website.
So, you guys want to know what you did wrong? You went against the only thing that people care about right now, because that's how social media works. Like, do you guys have a social media account, for fuck's sake?
And not even being pro-life isn't really what did it in. It's the fact that the Supreme Court overturned the Roe versus Wade decision. That's where they just fucked themselves royally. But after that happened...
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I know there are a bunch of conservatives packed in the court, but, like, a few not conservatives have just been elected. You know, it's like, how many of them in there are changing their tunes, you know, to go with the narrative or the flow, whatever you want to call it. I call it narrative.
With the flow.
But, you know, so it's like they did that. They're like, how are we going to win this election? Because we are so stupid. And we're literally going to make people think that inflation and raising your kids and having money for food isn't important, but having an abortion is. That's what it all comes down to. Like,
yeah, and when
you can't
phrase
have
it
all.
And when you phrase it that way, it sounds kind of silly. But granted, I'm a dude. I'll admit
I'm a dude.
He's a dude. Well, she could be a dude. It's 2022. Because we're all dudes. So yeah, I'll admit my bias there, because it sounds shitty, but I'll be blunt. Like, the abortion argument never really mattered that much to me, because
no kids.
I'm a guy,
right?
And like, I have my own personal views that I'm not going to get into.
That's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, like, if I don't know about it, that's the better way. Because honestly, if someone has an opinion about something and you don't like their opinion,
well,
don't ask them.
Well, it's kind of like, how do you feel about the new Italian prime minister trying to re-privatize the largest telecom company in the country? Does that make you mad?
So I'm fucking pissed.
Or wait,
5G in this country sucks.
Or wait, I don't live in fucking Italy.
Yeah, so why do
I
I
don't
care?
give a shit. But I'm guarantee you there's some American out there being like, those bastardos. And if you're an Italian American with relatives, maybe you have some beef with that. But I mean, like, there's nobody in Nebraska being like, well, god damn it, them fucking Italians just trying to take over everything in the government.
I was recently watching this video, and this the girl, she was interviewing people. She was American in another country. I don't know where, but so she comes up with this lady. She goes, "Hey, what do you mostly dislike about America?" And she goes, "Well, I think they're stupid and overweight." And I was like, "Yeah, she's got a point. I'll keep talking." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, I agree with the overweight thing," but she's like, "Well, why do you think they're stupid?" And she gave an example, and she didn't even know what she was talking about. And then the woman corrected her. She's like, and then it was like, "I gotta go." And it's like, and I've seen tons of videos like this here in America where someone says, "Oh, blah, 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 he's misogynist."
Oh,
they're like, "Can you define
Tate.
that?" And they're like, "Oh, no, it wasn't even Tate."
Oh,
But,
well, I've seen some of the Tate ones.
and yeah, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. And they can't even define the word. And it's like basically oppression of women.
It's a hatred or belief in the inferiority of women.
Yeah, so, and then halftime they can't even, because they are programmed.
Right, they've been told hate this person,
Right.
and that's not just Tate. It's not just Trump. It's anything.
I just don't get it. What happened to people having their own opinions?
Because it's hard.
I love opinions because I love to tell them why I'm right. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
honestly,
wrong a lot.
having your own like this, like, I'll admit I'm a weird duck. This was fun. This was like 4 hours of research. This was fun for me.
Weird duck. Now, see, the thing is, like, he
Well,
has an actual career and position, so he doesn't have a lot of time to do this stuff. I have a ton of time to watch freaking videos on YouTube and listen to stuff and read stuff, so therefore, like, that's why if I know anything, and it could be wrong because I don't write it down.
Well, I should say this became fun because I started to see that pattern, and then I started digging.
Oh, yeah. No, and the pattern is
like it's right there.
Eerie.
There's no, it's not even eerie. Like it's obvious now. That's why
eerily obvious.
That's why the Republicans. So some major takeaways I had, which by the way, did you listen to Joe Rogan when he had Matt Walsh on fairly recently?
I'm glad you brought that up. I was listening to them debate back and forth, and it was good. And I heard a debate between him and Matt Walsh about a specific subject. I'll go into it in a second, but it reminded me of how Joe was acting towards Matt Walsh. It reminded me of how he reacted to Steven Crowder? When he was talking about the marijuana. He's like, you asked me what Hill...
He did the same thing,
and he did the same thing to Matt Walsh, and then he was like basically like trying to back him to the corner, and Matt's like, I mean, you asked me a question.
Well, and Matt...
And he was even saying, it's just my personal preference.
I had an issue with the way Joe...
It was on the marriage.
Yeah, the gay marriage. Now, both of them...
He was basically just trying to define what marriage was to him. And Joe Rogan just could not accept that he had a different opinion of what it meant to him.
Well, and the thing that was annoying about Joe, what Joe was doing is he kept flipping the context. Because he'd be talking about, like, well, don't you think that's wrong? And Matt's like, well, I'm not saying that there should be, like, a law against gay people being gay, but, like, you asked me to define marriage. And he's like, well, yeah, I know. But marriage is, whatever you want it to be, essentially. And Matt's like... I mean, is it though?
That's the problem with Joe. Joe is very insightful. He is a very good person. You can tell he cares a lot.
Yeah.
But the problem is that
when it's something that he's passionate about.
He's passionate about it. But the thing is, the problem is he's waking up to all the bullshit, and he's still got the same hive mind.
Well,
30%. No, because the thing is how because he doesn't know how to dissect a conversation. He doesn't understand that. Difference between personal views and what they want legalized or something like that.
Yeah, that's...
Same with fucking Crowder and the pot thing. And Crowder was literally like, he goes, you asked me this question, and I said, this is not the hill I would die on.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing. And pot's a good example because you can, ask me how I feel about pot.
And how do you feel about pot?
I mean, I don't see how anything good comes from it for me, but I understand that there are people who enjoy it. There have been documented medical uses for appetite stimulant and cancer patients, pain management, and we're learning all kinds of new stuff every day.
Anxiety.
But for me, I don't think I would ever partake, and I don't really want to partake. Now that's assuming I don't end up with some kind of health issue that warrants me using it. But as far as recreational, I'm not for it personally, but I'm totally for legalization because I think that adults should be able to put whatever they want into their body within reason. And I think that's well within reason.
That sounds awfully sexy.
Yeah, it does. Within reason.
But no, yeah, I'm right there with you too. It's because for the longest time, I don't care about marijuana, but at the same time, it's I don't like smoking of it. I can't stand beer on smoke.
Oh yeah, I hate the smell.
But
can't stand it.
When it comes to edibles, I'm fine with those because I don't taste it, and and then I giggle for a few hours and then go to bed.
Yeah, dude, you had some strong shit in those shorts.
Oh my!
You were giggling mess.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
I kind of wish I'd been hanging out with you. That would have been funny.
The brand, I will tell everyone. I'm not ashamed of the brand. The brand is called 3Chi, and it was just like a piece of chocolate that was round like this, and then kind of looked like a ghost from Pac-Man, same shape, that round shape. And I ate half of it, and it was during the day. I felt it a little bit, and I was all, okay, but I was not hungry or anything like that. I took the other half, and the thing is, when it comes to edibles, sometimes the distillate used in the edible, it can be on the right side. It's not an exact science, Well, I'm pretty sure every bit of that freaking thing was in the right side of it, and I didn't eat that till later. And man, I was gone. And there was a stupid video on TikTok of someone making a hedgehog cake. And it wasn't the cake that was so funny. It was the damn music. Because all I can think of is when I saw the big red lips on that cake, all I could think of was freaking Kevin McAllister's mom off of Home Alone and her big ass red lips. And for some, that music was just so funny.
Well, that is a remix of the Home Alone.
I know, but it was so funny. It's like when they do the Celine Dion music and then they do the crappy flute or whatever.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. That shit cracks me up.
I also like when they do that with the Jurassic Park theme. That's pretty funny.
Dude.
But so the Matt Walsh thing, I think overall, and I was appreciative of Joe and actually giving him a platform to kind of say his piece about the documentary, which I still haven't watched yet, and I need to, because I do want to see it, because I think that documentary has been unfairly trashed.
I hear it's very good from a lot of conservative sides, but of course the other.
Well, and I'm more willing to believe the conservatives in this case because the liberals haven't watched it.
That's the thing, and we've gone about this before. What's the difference? What's the biggest difference between? I'm not gonna say liberals anymore. I don't say liberals anymore.
Well, the left.
Leftists versus conservatives, because that's basically the way it is right now. But what's the biggest difference between leftists and conservative?
Generally speaking, it's more likely that a conservative has at least done some sort of research or viewing of
and
the
they will
material.
check both sides for the most part. For the most part.
I do. It's more likely, I would say, that a conservative would check both sides than somebody on the left.
Yeah, because the left side will run straight to their left side.
It's also, I would say it's more likely that a conservative would be skeptical of stuff coming out of their own, sources. Because even sometimes I'll hear Ben Shapiro say something and be like, is that true? I don't know if that's true, Ben. Sometimes
he says stuff, and I'm like, are you just being told do you double check your stuff? And I'm like, he's got such a crazy, he's got a company going on and stuff like that, so he has to trust his people. Yeah. And if they bring it out and it's wrong, they'll have to do.
I'll give credit where credit's due, though. Ben Shapiro has come out when something was incorrect or ended up being wrong. He fesses up to. At least I've seen him do it a few times. So I was. But Matt Walsh, so here's the interesting thing. I don't like Matt Walsh, and I don't know why.
After watching that with Joe Rogan,
I like him a little bit better.
Well, I felt bad for how Joe was treating him, but the thing is, I heard Matt Walsh talk, and he sounded like a pretentious douchebag.
Right?
And I was like, don't get me wrong. I agree with a lot of what he says, and I appreciate some of his stuff, but I was like, he just seems like a douche.
That's what I don't like about him. He comes across as such a judgmental douche. And yet, I defend his right to speak as a judgmental douche. Also, I found out how young he is, and I'm like, oh, you.
How old is he?
He's 36.
That explains.
I'm like, oh, you're a millennial. That's why.
I'm the same way. I'm pretty pretentious.
And then I found out, and then he said he was Catholic. I'm like, oh.
I'm not Catholic though.
But I mean, I'm seeing where some of his personality comes. Not dogging on Catholics.
The priests I know do not like little boys. I just said that.
Yes, you did.
Didn't mean to. Actually, I did.
He meant
Catholic Church, you need to get that shit under control.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really. There's not really much of an argument there.
It's like, what kind of fucking rug are you hiding that shit under? It's like, really? Really?
A very big one with a picture of the Pope.
Really? Is there snacks and candy under that rug too?
I mean, probably.
Fucking retard. Oh, I'm not gonna say that either. That's a mean word.
You never go for. What's the matter, Paul?
My eyes rain.
Listen here, shitbird.
Take a step back and literally fuck your own face. I decided not to blow up the microphone.
I will massacre you.
G6 airplane.
Playa.
Dude, seriously, they need to bring back Les Grossman.
Oh, fuck. He needs a solo movie.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Watch the shit out of that.
Damn it! Tom Cruise, listen, we're talking to you. Do it. Just do it! Get Shia LaBeouf in it, too. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. His motivational stuff. And not to just do it with the freaking John Bernthal real ones.
Yeah.
I did a little more research on John Bernthal, and I don't like him as much as I like the characters he portrays because he seems like kind of like a white wannabe.
Hippity dippity.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like, he just seems like a wannabe, like, really bad. But then he plays such badass characters. I'm like, I'll give you a pass, dude. I'll give you a pass. I just won't watch your shit.
Well, it's funny. I was about to say, well, Tom Cruise isn't a fighter pilot, but he is a pilot. So, he's halfway there?
He fights his way to get on the plane.
The ladder.
Climbing up the ladder. I have nothing smart to say.
But it was interesting, though, because...
Average at best.
Yeah, just like this podcast. It was interesting, though, because to me it seemed like the interview with Matt Walsh and Joe Rogan was kind of the same, different symptoms, but the same problem that the Republicans had in this race. Is Matt Walsh seemed unnecessarily attached to some of his views and didn't even want to examine them. Like, I'm not saying his views are wrong. I don't agree with some of them, but...
You can't say, hey, this is my view, but let me hear out your side, and then maybe it'll change mine.
Matt Walsh seems, and this might not be true, but he seems incapable of...
Change?
Well, not change necessarily, but looking at something and say, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. The possibility exists. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be.
I always say that.
Oh, yeah. I'm
like a lot.
Like 80% of the time, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, and yet I end up being right a lot, and I don't like it because I don't want to be right.
Dude, I'm right a lot.
I know, but it's always when I don't want to be right.
It's like I wanted to be wrong.
I wanted to win the Powerball. I knew I wouldn't. Actually, I don't even play the Powerball.
Every girl deserves to go to a ball. Anyway.
So yeah, I just got the vibe that because and it was weird though because Matt Walsh seemed really stuck on the marriage thing, but he wasn't trying to bring it up, so it was kind of a weird.
Yeah, it was like a weird situation where like you're done with the conversation, but the person keeps bringing it up.
Yeah,
like, I'm kind of over this, but okay, I'll.
Like I saw Joe's point, but I also saw Matt's point, and I'm just like.
Well, Joe doesn't know how to try to change minds. He knows how to bludgeon it into your head until you can't hear anything else, and you're just like, whatever, okay.
Joe is exceptionally good at being inquisitive. So if he's got somebody on that's talking about stuff that he doesn't know...
I think the thing is he's trying to see if they're legit about it.
Which, maybe.
And Matt just kept reinforcing his statements, so Joe didn't get the hint.
Well, and
it was kind of like a disconnect on both of them.
I think Joe just wanted him to say, which he did say, I think Joe just wanted him to say in a different way that, you know, like, yeah, I don't agree with, because he kind of did the same with Ben Shapiro, but Ben Shapiro did a better job explaining his position on it.
Well, Ben Shapiro is Ben Shapiro. His brain works like a fucking supercomputer.
Well, but all Ben said was like, listen, for me it's a religious thing, and this is what the religion says, and therefore that's why I abide by it.
That just blows my mind, too, and other people have said this to Ben Shapiro, too. They're like, you are such a intelligent person, and yet you're stuck on religion. And he's like, and like, I'm not hating on that one bit, because the thing is, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, religious people tend to have better morals than non-religious people. Most of them, you know.
I'm agreeing with you. I was trying to think of the word. I think statistically, it's probably... Well, but it depends on your definition of morality, because, like, to me...
That's very true. Okay, I'll give you that because the Catholic Church...
Well, there are Catholics out there that have the moral high ground.
And I'm just shitting on Catholics right there. Like,
it's easy.
Shit like that happens in other churches and whatnot. Like,
well, I mean, not
I'm
as
not
often.
Say, you know, but it's still fucked either way. But, like, yeah, it's just so weird that Ben Shapiro is a religious fanatic. Like, I figured he'd be like a doctor trying to prove there is no God. Not a doctor, but a scientist.
Well, I would consider Ben Shapiro more of a rationalist than an empiricist, and that makes sense in a religious context because he views the world through reason, not necessarily through empirical. Not that he ignores empirical evidence, right. But when you're talking about religion, you can't use empirical evidence because it's transcendent from the physical world. So it's useless to argue whether or not God exists from an empirical point of view.
I asked someone, and they gave a great answer. I said, why do you believe in this? And, you know, you believe so heavily in it. And I said, what happens if you die and there's nothing after, and they say, then I won't know.
You know what that is? There's a philosophical argument for that. It's called Pascal's wager. And basically, he argued that
whether or not you believe, at the end of the day, you're still going to die. I know you have some. I'm sorry. I'll quit interrupting.
So Pascal's, and I'm paraphrasing, but Pascal's wager essentially is like,
I've heard it before.
Even if you don't believe right now, it's more worthwhile to like force yourself to go through the motions, and then eventually you might start to believe, because there's two possibilities. One, you die and there is no God, and then what are you really out? A few hours a week? Not really that big of a deal. Or you could not believe, die, and be wrong, and then you have a life. So So you may ask yourself, though, why, being aware of Pascal's wager, why am I a non-believer-ish?
I don't deny anything, because at the end of the day, I've seen nothing that gives me for or against. So therefore, if I can't prove it, then who am I to really judge on it? It's hard to just be like, you know what? I've never seen any proof. I've never seen any denial. So I don't know.
I wish I could be. I really do.
I wish I knew.
I know. I wish I could be like a religious guy. I really do. I just can't do it.
Like I said, because the thing is, not even necessarily morality, but like community.
Yeah, well, that's one of the pluses. But it's funny, for me, religion, at least in when it comes to Christianity, for me, it all comes down to ethics. Like, I'm not buying that it's real, but I definitely appreciate the Judeo-Christian ethic, because, our society was built on it. There's no denying that.
So I don't believe in religion, period. My thing is, I just believe we're here and there's something. That's it.
There's something.
There's something. I don't know how to explain it. What?
You a flying spaghetti monster kind of guy?
Dude, that would be not awesome.
It'd be delicious.
I wish it was Cthulhu. That shit's wild.
Oh, God.
Every time I see Stranger Things, which, by the way, you suck. Who doesn't watch Stranger Things?
I'm about to give that another try, because I was wrong.
You need to, because it's fucking amazing.
I was wrong about Game of Thrones, so
Listen,
I'm going to...
Once you get to the 4th season, you're going to love Eddie.
Okay.
He's a great character.
So, the strongest takeaways...
Eddie Spaghetti. I'm just kidding.
The strongest takeaways. Republicans who stood up or were distant from Trump performed better outside of deep red areas. Because let's face it, in deep red areas, Republicans did like Republicans always. A deep red. Roe versus Wade seemed to be the largest issue of this election cycle.
Yep.
And Republicans seem focused on issues that are big for them, but not really important for the electorate at large or for individual liberties. Or at least they talk in a way that makes people think they are against these certain things.
They think, therefore they is. Now, I don't know why I did that, but, there was no red wave. Let's just put that out there. Overall, there was no red wave. Now,
however,
like certain areas, there were red waves.
Yeah, but I also think people are kind of downplaying, because I would call it a Republican success, not a super triumphant one, but, they're going to take the House.
The House right now is 210 versus 192, and Republicans need 218, 219.
To have the majority, yes.
219 to have the majority. And then the Senate is literally 49 to 48 with the Republicans leading.
Which it's going to come down to Georgia. Because are Nevada or Arizona in yet?
I don't believe Arizona is, because they're having issues.
But what about Nevada?
That one makes sense, because what do we have, 3 states left?
Yeah, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, but we won't have Georgia until December. So like I said, it's going to come down to Georgia. Yeah,
and then the governors are damn near neck and neck.
Hey, it's going to come down to Georgia. They're looking for a Senate to steal.
He was in a bind because he got way behind. He asked Joe Biden to seal. No, I ain't gonna say
seal the deal.
Seal the deal. And Joe said, "Listen here, son. Let me tell you what. Sit you over there, and I'm gonna sniff your butt."
They got hairy legs.
Crank on the pressure.
Hairy legs turn blonde in the sun.
I'm sorry, but like, how could you vote for that guy?
Hey,
it's like you didn't even have to vote for Trump. There were options.
Hey, all I'm pointing out is we've been dogging on the Catholic Church for obvious reasons pretty much all night. And Joe Biden's Catholic.
It makes sense. He's a priest. A recovering one. A recovering priest. Oh, jeez. If the Catholic Church is right, I'm going to hell. There will be ice water on sale.
You know, I guess that's my plan if I end up in hell. Just go into the ice water business. Might be hard to come by. Might have to start with urine.
That's what... It's sterile and I like the taste.
I'll just be an IP salesman. Iced tea. Be my rap name.
I can't take him anywhere nice.
Nope. Because it's sterile and I like the taste.
So basically, what we need to take out of all this bullshit.
Listen.
Y'all motherfuckers vote feelings.
Listen, Republicans. Need you to take a big steak back. Need you to take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
Like, you guys had it.
You should have had it. Now, it's not really the Republican Party's fault that the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, unless there is.
I'm telling you,
communication.
There's something going on there. That
well,
was way out of place.
Well, first of all, if that is true, if there is communication, I think that shouldn't be the case. Because I don't think the Supreme Court should be partisan, period, although that's unavoidable now because they've made it. Yeah. But if there is, then you guys really need to get on a better planning strategy. Because I'm telling you, like, I'm trying to say this without being overly controversial because I don't know where I stand on it ultimately, but I do think there was a case to be made that maybe Roe versus Wade decision wasn't the best it could have been. And there's an argument that it should be left up to the states. Whether it's right or wrong, there's an argument at the very least. Now is not the time. Not for the Republican strategy.
Like, why would you guys do that right now instead of be like, until after elections? Like,
you had it.
Because you literally pushed people into the arms of their captor.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Because I'm sorry, but the Democratic Party, like, they, back in the early 90s and whatnot, you know, back when Bill was cool, and not Bill Nye, because he's never been cool.
I'm saying, you know, and there is something to be said about Bill Clinton's definition of abortion. What did he say?
Fucked up.
What did Bill Clinton always say about abortions? We want them to be safe, legal, and rare.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
And that's a very fucking smart thing to do because, like, the problem is like that people, it's not that, you know, and I'll be honest, like, I don't think I'm a conservative. I don't know what the fuck I am. I don't want to label that bullshit. But at the end of the day, it's like when people get abortions, it should be like a rare thing. But, like, it's becoming common. And instead of just using fucking contraceptives I don't agree with the birth control pills and whatnot. Simply not because of what they do.
Do you mean Plan B?
Not because of what. Well, yeah, Plan B.
Are you talking about
because of how they affect people? Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, and that's coming out.
They
big time.
fuck up people's hormones very bad.
Well, and they've actually done a lot of studies where
guys learn to pull out. It's not that hard.
So they've actually done studies where you can actually blame birth control for at least a few divorces.
I blame Canada.
Blame Canada.
But anyway.
So what they're seeing is that sometimes, like, if a man and a woman meet and the woman's on birth control at the time, and then they date and they get married, and then she comes off birth control because they want to have kids, her hormones re-regulate, and she's attracted to different things. Like, literally, because basically what I'm butchering this, but essentially what a birth control hormone pill does is it makes the body think it's pregnant. So I'm quoting this study. This is not my belief.
Some women get hypersexual when they're pregnant, and some women shut down.
Well, but what happens though is typically a normal, biologically sound, regulated woman who is pregnant is looking for more like father-esque attributes. whereas a woman who's not pregnant looks for different, subconsciously, obviously, this isn't a conscious decision. They look for different attributes.
She's looking for a good time.
Not necessarily a good time, but she is looking for more of those like traditionally masculine traits, and less like he'd be a good dad, and more like he looks like an agile hunter who could pin something against something and do stuff.
Well, I mean, the average testosterone flow is a lot lower than it was 50 years ago.
I blame the food, honestly. They're doing something with the
absolutely. It's the food. It's the process.
Yeah, they're doing foods. Something.
You know, like they increased estrogen and androgen or androgen.
I know what you're. I can't remember the word.
I don't know if it increases that, but and it lowers free testosterone.
Well, but frankly, I have the solution.
I think it's free testosterone.
I have I have the solution, fellas. Like
eat meat.
Well, no, I mean, part of it is if you want to be attractive to women that are on and off birth control, like this sounds stupid, but you have to be both. You have to be a guy who does traditionally masculine things and look traditionally masculine, like fucking exercise, lift weights, eat steak, cook outdoors.
And wear pink shirts.
Don't wear pink shirts. Don't do that.
I have a pink shirt. Fuck you. And it looks really good on me.
Does it say bad man on it? But at the
Woman, bring me a drying cloth at once.
You will love that scene in DBZ Abridged. It's even funnier. But then at the same time, you have to have your shit together in a way that says, like, if I were to get you pregnant, you don't have to worry, because we got this shit. Like, you don't have to be rich, but you got to have your shit under control, and you got to have those kind of protective. What's the word I'm thinking of? Protective and like you take care of shit. Like you got this down. Provider, yeah. Thank you. And do that all at the same time.
Top G.
Top fucking G. Which, by the way, did you know that his girlfriend has a TikTok account?
Well, that's a way to get around it. She doesn't post anything from him, though.
Oh, no, she does. That's how I know it's legit. Because I saw a random TikTok that said she was Andrew Tate's girlfriend, and I'm like, bull fucking shit. And then I went to the profile, because now I'm curious, and sure enough, it's the top G, and I think it's to get around it. I think he had her make it just to soften his image.
Does he manage her OnlyFans?
I'm telling you right now, I don't think she has an OnlyFans. I didn't look. No, actually, you know what? I did look.
That's rare for a girl in the West Coast.
I did. At least it's not on her TikTok bio, because I'm like, let me see if there's a link, and sure enough, there wasn't.
She's not West Coast though. Like.
No, I think she's
does he
Romania.
Does he live in?
He lives in Romania.
He lives in Romania.
Mm-hmm.
He lives where there's no tax, don't he?
I don't know if there's no tax, but I'm sure it's low tax.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because after watching some of Tate's content, I kind of want to visit Romania. It looks really cool. Like, it's a beautiful country from what I've seen.
I mean, welcome to Nostrovia.
I mean, they do have... That is where Dracula's castle is. Like, literally.
This shit's real.
Well, I mean, Dracula is based on a real person.
No, vampires are real.
Well, I mean, like I said, Dracula is based on a real person.
I don't mean actual true bloodsuckers. I'm just saying vampires, in essence, are real. They're called politicians. Because there is not one politician that is not a bloodsucker. Y'all might be fooled by Ron DeSantis, but I'll take him for what he is. He's a bloodsucker, but he loves his country.
He's just one of those mosquitoes that doesn't have no diseases yet. Still a bloodsucker, but he's not going to give you Lyme disease. That's a tick.
It's the difference between a whore and a skeeter. You smack the skeeter, stop sucking. That was a bad joke.
Actually, the first time I heard it, I laughed.
Oh, I know. It's only been played out 10 years now. All right. So basically, you Republicans messed up.
Well, and I think it's because they keep letting Trump lead them.
Dude, that's the problem with the Republican caucus.
The Republicans.
You guys just have to be led.
Really, you didn't?
Let's just be free thinkers. It's not that hard. That's the problem with Democrats. There are too many idiots who are free thinkers.
Really, nothing for Republicans?
I liked it.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Republicans?
Yeah, because they're repugnant. Repugnant Republicans.
Son of a bitch! I like it.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Now the Gumby's kicking in. It's about time to.
Woo!
Yeah, y'all fucked up.
So we took away.
Again.
We took many things away, but the most important thing to take away is to watch the Average Intelligence podcast because we literally predict the future.
We knew it. Even though I don't agree with it and I don't like that the future is here.
We do call a lot. I'm kind of surprised how accurate. Like, we've missed the boat on a couple things, but even then I wouldn't say they're major.
But most of the shit, it just falls in line. It's almost like we write The Simpsons.
It's almost like we just pay attention to what's happening and say, I wonder if this will come back to bite us in the ass later.
And it does.
Chomp. You know, it's just you look for certain things. It's kind of like in Back to the Future. Biff always has, there's always a Tannen who's stirring shit up.
Attitude legit, tearing up shit.
Thank you, MC Ren.
I'm surprised you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so proud. I'm like a proud dad. I am a proud dad, but I mean, I'm times 3 now.
I also know about a crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Attitude legit because he's tearing up shit.
That's MC Ren again.
I'm going back to mine. Yours was Ice Cube.
It's almost like, I think you're talking about the autobiography of the E.
Don't fuck with me because you get taken by a dope brother.
Word to the motherfucker. Two fucking white
straight
guys.
Out of YouTube.
Two fucking white guys. Straight out of Compton.
Oh, that's nothing. Like I was watching an NWA concert live. It was like 91, maybe 90, something like that. There were so many white people in the crowd, and I was like, that had to have been so awkward for them.
That'd been weird
in the early 90s. And I was like, I hate to bring race into that, but at that time, like we're pretty divided right now, but at that time it was really bad. Like it was really bad. But
well, that was around the time of the second LA riots.
Dude, I remember growing up listening to all this shit in the early 90s, you know? Like I was born in we were born in 87. So it's like I remember listening to all that shit for the first time. Obviously I was it had been out for a little bit, but that shit was so good.
It still is good. Still holds up.
All of it does. I actually been listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony, and they're like seriously so good.
Speaking of which, how good was Straight Outta Compton, the movie?
It was really good.
So good.
There was just a few discrepancies.
Oh, sure.
Like it was perfect. All the people they got to play, and Ice Cube's kid looks just like him. O'Shea Jackson Jr. I love that part where they're all in the hotel. what was her name? Felicia. Hey, Felicia in here? Nah, she's busy. She's sucking real. I almost just said it. Forgive me.
Oh, you didn't say it, thankfully.
But she's sucking dick in here. I was like,
then they
bye, Felicia. I love how they brought that in from. You know, actually, Ice Cube's kid fought for that to be in the movie. Bye, Felicia.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's from Friday.
Yeah, it's from Friday.
You know,
yeah.
They never said that. You know, there's a few things. All right, now we're just getting completely off topic.
I was going to say something, and I completely forgot it. I don't think... Oh, this is a fun fact for you all, because I'm a fucking language nerd. O'Shea is thank you in Yoruba. Yoruba. It's the one...
Oh, Yoruba.
I think it's the dominant language in Nigeria. It's spoken in Africa, but I think it's the dominant language in Nigeria.
Well, that makes sense, because Ice Cube is...
African American?
Islam? He converted to Islam?
I think he did.
Muslim? Was he Islam?
He converted to... same thing. He converted to Islam. A Muslim is a follower of Islam.
Okay. And then... Yeah, he converted that back in the early 90s, but he believes a little differently nowadays because
I'm sure
they believed in segregation.
That I don't know.
There was something I read.
Well, I know that he was a member of the nation, or at least he hung around with the Nation of Islam. which was, I don't think it was I don't know. I'm not going to say it was a black supremacist group because I don't know. But if I look that up later and it turns out they were, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm not saying they were because I need to look that up.
Right.
Because I remember Malcolm X was also a member of the Nation.
I was just going to say, on the music part, though, music movies in general are really good.
Usually, speaking of music movies, I really want to watch
I want to watch the Elvis Presley one.
I don't.
You
I'm not.
Watch what?
Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al.
I heard they're not coming out with it.
No, it's on the Roku channel.
Oh, it is out?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Except I don't have a Roku anymore. I think I'll have to watch it like on a browser.
Oh, I was gonna say because I have Roku TVs, but I never use the Roku browser.
Ooh. But yeah, the Roku and the Roku channel's free.
No, I didn't know if you liked music movies because you watch Dewey Cox. I know that's making fun of it, but it's hilarious.
Oh, Dewey Cox is so fun.
Movies back in the day. You remember the Temptations, the band?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that movie is so good, dude.
Oh, the Temptations are so good.
And if you've never seen the documentary that came out in the early, not documentary, but the movie, seriously, it's like 3 hours long. Give it a watch. It's so good.
What's it called? The Temptations?
Yeah, it's just called Temptations. I believe so. But
the Temptations are so good.
And seriously, like all the music is in it, and it's perfect. And then they go through all the drug use and all the fun stuff, and leaving kids. And
no, I'm a big no. Now remind me, was it the Temptations that Lionel Richie was a member of, or am I thinking of another band?
Lionel Richie was not alive.
Yeah, I think he was.
Maybe he was like a 2-year-old or something.
Hang on.
Lionel Richie wasn't part of the Temptations. It was David Ruffigan.
Okay, no, I'm.
Well, actually, that was.
Or was it the Commodores?
Little Richie.
No, Lionel Richie.
Lionel. Oh, hello. Is it me you're looking for? I can see.
Oh, he was a member of the Commodores. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it in your smile. All night long.
All right, let's call it Cheddar. we should have a music podcast.
Oh God.
And just like not even like go over like top 10 songs or bullshit like that. Just talk about music.
Talk about music.
Talk about music, and like I can talk about music for days.
Yeah.
Like my wife goes fucking insane because she's like, "How do you know who this band is? What year this came out? This thing did that." And she don't really talk like that, man. You know. She tells me to shut up a lot.
Well, we all know where I'm gonna end up.
Celine Dion, you simp.
I mean, probably not so much anymore. But
I mean, it's all coming back to me now.
Hey, she's my lady.
My lady.
I'm legitimately surprised you know that. Although now that
dude, who didn't fall asleep to waking up to that bullshit on the TV?
Yeah, that's right.
And back to this. The greatest
and then it cuts
90s.
into, tell me how am I supposed to live without you?
This is the time at the podcast. We're just dumb.
See, he had an edible, though. I have no excuse.
No, you are
I'm a sponge.
You're not a bottom feeder. You're not a bottom feeder. What's the word?
I'm a vibe sponge.
Yeah, there's a literal term for that, and sponge is very
Sponge.
good. He's SpongeBob.
I'm a vibe sponge.
Yeah.
I hate SpongeBob
I
so
love
much.
SpongeBob. My kids made me watch it, and I realized that I still love it as an adult. But yet, we were fairly older when SpongeBob got
SpongeBob
popular.
would be banned in my house.
I think it was. But Papa Roach was not banned in your house. Cutting my life into pieces.
This is my last resort.
His sister and ex... Well, what is she? She's just your sister. His sister and his married sister, who's not married, his in-law sister, whatever you want to call it, stepsister.
What? Oh,
Your
yeah.
sister and your stepsister were sleeping on the couch, and he had this. Well, his mom had this badass surround system with a crazy freaking stereo system, and she had speakers everywhere. But the thing is, the
You could delay it.
No, wait, we didn't delay it. The thing had a natural delay. It was like a 5-second delay. It was like turning on the amplifier. It took a full 5 seconds. So we turned it on. We ran out, and Papa Roach decided it was their last resort. And they screamed and yelled, and his mom, jack up! That's exactly how she sounded too. Loved it.
How do you feel about
Love when she yelled at you.
How do you feel about the Papa Roach song Scars?
I tear my heart open. That's a good one.
But do you sew yourself shut? I guess my weakness is that I care too much.
I ain't got nothing else.
Yeah, we need to stop. We need to get in touch with Sosa, and we need to see the new Black Panther.
Sosa.
Why don't we plan to do that next week?
All right.
We'll see Black Panther at some point.
For Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
I
don't know why I had like a German R in there.
I don't know why.
It's like Wakanda forever? Forever ever? Forever ever?
I'm going to put on my Viking cap. I'm just kidding. Alright. This is that time where... Do you want to lead us out or just say goodbye?
Yes, I will lead us out because I actually have to apologize to our audio listeners. For some reason, the Average Intelligence podcast was off Apple Podcasts for a minute, and I didn't know it was off. But it is back on. Still don't know how or why it happened. Oh, and another big announcement. Speaking of music, the Average Intelligence podcast is now available on iHeartRadio. So all of you iHeartRadio subscribers, and we actually already had people listening to it on iHeartRadio. I was kind of surprised by that. But speaking of audio platforms, thank you for enjoying this episode of the Average Intelligence podcast. Hopefully you are a little bit less average and a little bit more intelligent. Doubtful, but we can dream. Like Republican victories. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe because we need all the help we can get from the YouTube algorithm because they are against us. And we're too lazy to switch to Rumble.
They like our short... Rumble, dude. They're freaking ads.
Yeah, that Rumble.
I know it's free and it's freedom of speech and this and that, but I don't like it.
It's nice to have an alternative, though, because if YouTube ever did start being major dicks, we could...
Yeah,
But if you, like I said, like, share, and subscribe because it helps the channel grow. Check out the shorts, check out the videos, and obviously check out the non-live full podcasts, which are all available on the YouTube page. And if you prefer to listen to the podcast as opposed to watch them, you can do that right here on YouTube, or you can also check us out on, let me see if I can remember this alphabetically.
Andy's done.
Amazon, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's not Radio Now. Shit. I forget. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Pocket Casts, and I've forgotten the other ones. But they're smaller and insignificant. And then also, if you just completely have no other idea, you can stream all the podcasts in our little network at ratemedia.org. Full episodes are available on there. As well as a pretty... I mean, I think it was a pretty cool blog, you know. It's there. You know, occasionally I like to go to Starbucks and write in the corner, work on my screenplay.
Talk to people.
No, talking to people is unproductive, unless she's hot. Then I tell her about my script and offer her a part in my movie.
Ask her what her pronouns are.
Never.
All right, people, this has been another fun podcast. Have a good one.